Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. I'm going to switch gears here a bit from what you all are used to seeing on the channel here. As I stated before, sometimes doing gardening videos is a little difficult because when you're busy, you can't always stop to get the camera and do these things. One of our viewers mentioned that sometimes when I'm moving with the camera doing the garden videos, that is a little dizzying. And that's not the first time I've heard that. I've had viewers in the past state that, and my husband has stated that as well. He says sometimes when he's watching and I'm moving about with the camera, it kind of does something to you, and I totally understand that. Sometimes I wish I had a person who could man the camera while I'm doing gardening videos. But the issue here in our house is everyone is busy. Everyone is busy doing something during the course of the day. So this is why I don't do as many gardening videos. So I'm going to try to be as steady with the camera as I can here. Right now, what I'm doing, I'm inside of the greenhouse. That's unfinished. It's an unfinished greenhouse right now. We're working on it. We have some of the framing up. But because we have so many different projects we're working on, we have to do things in stages. Here's the door, and we're going to put the roof on soon. It's just a little greenhouse that we are attaching to the side of one of the sheds here. And so it's a work in progress. We have things that we got from the scrapyard, windows and these screens and things of that nature. So we'll show you the finished product when we're done. But what we have here, I wanted to show you how inside of these pots we have different things growing throughout the season. We've already planted tons of tomatoes around the property here. But what you see here are two different kinds of tomatoes. One here and one here. One is beefsteak and the other is cherry or Roma, I believe it is. Okay. Tomatoes. And then we have some peppers here in these other trays, right? Then come over here, we use these egg cartons, especially in the wintertime when you're trying to get things started early. These are like a little makeshift greenhouse, a little portable greenhouse for certain things that you want to get started early on. We already have tons of watermelon planted, but we decided we're not gonna just plant in one area. We're gonna find pockets on the property to plant various things. So this is a tray with watermelon seedlings. This here is a tray of watermelon seedlings. Now, as you see, we have different ways that we're doing things. This is an egg carton, okay? This right here is a planting tray, okay? And this here, what we have are foam cups. We had a lot of rain too, by the way, so if you see all this water in there, that's not supposed to be that way. I'm going to be getting that out of there. But for the past 3 days, we didn't have rain in the forecast, but we received a ton of rain. I actually broadcasted one of the videos where the storm was really kicking up. A lot of wind. It did blow some branches down on the property. Knocked some things over, knocked our trash cans over, and one of our small sheds was knocked over. We were able to get it back up. It was a little cheap metal shed that we have our packages delivered to, but it just shows you the power of the wind. And in going through the community, we've seen a lot of trees just completely knocked over altogether. And so, yeah, we have to deal with the weather when it comes to gardening. But a lot of things, as a result, though, has really sprung forth really nicely. We have some peas here. And if you see, these are the grow bags. Okay, these are peas. And then we have more watermelon in these, okay? And in these cups here, we have eggplant. Those haven't come through yet, okay? But I wanted to show you this. These are those little grow bags that I was talking about. These are the small grow bags. Now, we do have the bigger grow bags that I showed you that will last you about 5 years, 5 or more years tops. And those are 3, 5, 10 gallons. You can get them up to a certain size, but these are like planter grow bags. These are not the grow bags that are going to last you 5 or more years, but these are the ones that you actually plant in. These are biodegradable. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this whole thing can be just set right down in the ground. You dig your hole and you sit it right down in the ground. Okay, this is the bigger of the sizes that we ordered, okay, in the planter grow bags. Now these, okay, here we have in these cups here, okay, these are more eggplants, okay, and then I believe we have some cayenne over here as well, okay, yes, cayenne, in which we've already planted cayenne and eggplants in other places, but we are doing something a little different here now. We're going to keep things in cups throughout the year, throughout the growing season, so that when something is phasing out, you can put something else in its place, because there is a growing period for each plant. Like green beans, they will produce for so long and then they are no longer producing. So if you already have something else ready to go in its spot, or you've replanted green beans, you're doing good. And so we have squash in some of these, and zucchini and others. And so all of these different things are going to go in new spots. We're creating new spots as well. Okay, we have our main garden areas, but then we have containers that we're going to be growing in. So a lot of these things are going to go in those containers. And here we have some more butternut squash and butter dish squash. Okay, all of these things, as you see, are in these various size grow bags. But back to these real quick. These were smaller, so we were able to actually sit them right down inside of these foam cups to hold them. And we write on the side of the foam cup what they are. Okay, and so what we'll do with these, you will just take this. See, I'm working with one hand, but you all see what I'm doing here. You'll be able to take this right out of the cup. Okay, and reuse the cup. You'll be able to reuse the cup, but plant this little grow bag with its dirt and its eggplant or squash or zucchini or whatever it is, cayenne. You'll be able to plant that right down into the soil. You just dig the hole and plant the whole thing in. No need to take it out of the little mesh grow bag, because that is biodegradable. So over time, it will decompose right into soil. And so these are very inexpensive. These grow bags, I believe we got 100 of them for $8 or something like that, $8.95. And so what that creates for you is opportunities to grow in places that you don't necessarily even have like a garden bed, okay? Because you've created the soil that it's going to grow in right there within these grow bags, and then you can just create a very small spot. If you just wanted to start off small with something and you don't have a lot of space, these grow bags or grow containers are great opportunities to try things out. Now I'm going to move around a little bit in here. I need to get over to another area, so just bear with me for a moment. A lot of things have been blown around because of the stormy weather. I'm looking forward to getting the greenhouse actually closed in. Okay, so now these are the pots that we've been using for years now. We've talked to you all about these. Now, the wind actually knocked one tray over on the other, and so a lot of the pots from that tray are down on the ground. Okay, and so I'll be getting those out. But anyway, the ones that you see with the seedlings coming through, these seedlings, that is rhubarb or Swiss chard. And so you see a lot of those coming through and are ready not quite ready to be transplanted. They can be transplanted at this stage if you want to, because they are already housed inside. This is like a miniature grow bag with a compression of peat moss that the plants or the seeds are able to germinate inside of. They hold moisture very well. So at this stage I could transplant it, but I'm probably going to allow it to sit for a few more days so that I can prepare areas. Now I wanted to come over here and show you this. In this area here we have the grow bags as well, and these are cucumbers. Cucumbers is another thing that you want to make sure that you are constantly sowing throughout the season. You don't want to just plant one time and then those plants just phase out. But if you can have a number of them ready to go, as you see here, we will be able to transplant these in an area as well. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to show you something that we are doing that's a little different. Now I'm going to try to hold the camera as steady as possible. I need to get one of those things that allows you to walk and hold the camera kind of steady. Have to check into that soon. As you see, some more trays that have been blown over by the wind. I mean, even this morning we woke up, it was the same thing. And we just thank the Most High. You see all the leaves from various trees that are just kind of like all over the grass right now. I'm trying to get over to a particular spot, but as you see, things are coming along well in our hay bale garden. The bean plants, the herbs on the other side, even the corn in this section are doing quite well. Okay, this is the only section we haven't grown or planted anything in yet. What you see are just weeds and grass that have just made their way in. We could just yank those right out, okay? But a lot of the things that we have in the cups will be able to get into this space here. Okay, but on the other side, you see things are coming along quite well. Those are the bell pepper plants there. We recently put some okra over there on that side there. Okay, now I want to just kind of step back a little bit here. I wanted to give a try with something different. This is my cardboard box garden. It's kind of difficult sometimes digging down into these hay bales. And so what I did was I bought some 10 by 10 boxes. These will biodegrade over time. We'll be able to actually tear these flaps off as the beds shrink down lower. We have some really good soil in here, really good compost and soil that's ready to receive some of those plants that are inside of the grow bags, ready to receive it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dig my hole. Let me come to this one. He's cooperating more. Dig my hole and put the grow bag right down in here. And the hay bale underneath has a layer of dirt, and then the roots will be able to further extend down into the actual hay bale, into organic matter. And so this is a win-win. As this hay bale decomposes over time, the hay bale itself is going to become soil that we will be able to add to compost year by year. And so this will be a nice layer right here. So all of these cardboard boxes, you see they've gotten wet with the rain, which is to be expected. But all of these, because cardboard is biodegradable, any excess that we can tear off, we'll actually be able to put that right into a compost bin after tearing it up. But right now, what that allowed us to do is have a thicker layer of soil that we can plant down into, okay? Right here is one of our blueberry plants that we haven't transplanted into the ground. I just brought it out here to the middle part of these 2 rows just to get more sun, since it is transportable right now. But as you see, it has lots of ripe, delicious blueberries on the plant. And I think we bought about 6 of these, 6 or 7. Lots of blueberry, raspberry, goji berry, just a number of different things, a lot of trees. This is in preparation for the future. We bought a lot of grapevines as well. And so we're trying new things because we want to be able to be a blessing to the Most High's people when the time comes and when the need is there. Being a blessing, being able to help to feed those who are in need as the time is going to require. I'm just kind of weeding some of these out as I go past. But yeah, I just wanted to show you those boxes that we have to actually give us more height on top of these hay bales for those plants that are going to need deeper roots. And some of those plants are like the cucumbers, the squash. They needed a little more depth than what we were able to get than just putting soil on top of the hay bales. Now you can put it kind of thick, but it's still not going to be quite enough. And so, what is that? Is that thing alive or dead? I'm not sure. But anyway, this is my garden update. The wind is doing that, causing him to move about like that. My husband would love to fish with that because I'm pretty sure there's a fish that would enjoy that as well. Our son Shemuel caught a really large crappie out of the lake behind the house, and he was so excited. He was so excited catching that crappie, and of course that excited us as well. We've been catching various fish out of the pond, but the one he caught was so huge. It's the biggest yet. It's the biggest we've ever seen in person. Of course, you can look online and you can see some really large crappie, but this thing, I would say, was about, I can't really say how long it was, but it was pretty big. But anyway, gardening, fishing, hunting, these are the things that we need to learn how to do, family. Growing food, very, very necessary. These are necessary skills that we need to learn how to do. And like I said, you want to make sure that you constantly have something in the greenhouse that's going to be ready to go when something else phases out and that space becomes available. Having all of these things all ready like this, whether you're using pods or mesh grow bags inside of cups, or just the mesh bags themselves, or whether you're using trays or egg cartons, it doesn't matter. We're just directly into the cup. We even bought some 72 cell trays for smaller seedlings because I'm telling you, family, this, for us, this is not a game. We're taking this thing very seriously, and we are doing all that we can. As a matter of fact, I'm going to walk over here real quick. A lot of branches that fell down during the storm. I'm going to walk over here real quick and come through this other door. Of course, you see that we have grow bags. These are the other grow bags that we were talking about. Okay. In here, we're eventually going to have a water catchment pond for watering things that are in the greenhouse. We'll just put a liner in here. With all the rain that we've had, this thing would have been filled, but we were not done with it yet, so we're still working on that. But I was coming through this part of the greenhouse. These right here, I purchased on eBay, I believe, or Amazon. And these are 72 cell trays for seedlings. They're pretty sturdy, so essentially, you put your good organic soil in there, or compost, and you put your seedlings down in there, and this allows you to grow 72 plants. Look at that, 72 plants, and I got 5 of these. And so I'm looking forward to putting something down in these. Something that will perhaps be for our fall garden. that will be ready to be transplanted when the time comes. But 72 cells is what you get with those trays. And voila, from there you are ready to go. The seedling is in there, it's rooted for you. And so when the season is ready for it, you'll be able to plop it right in the ground. So thinking ahead, family, these are the things that we must do, especially if you're taking growing your food serious. If you take it serious, then I'm just wanting to share some of these tips on getting things prepared ahead of time. Direct sow is great, but it's also good if you can get ahead of things and have a greenhouse. We wanted to have this greenhouse. We know it takes time to do things, so we're doing this very small greenhouse initially. Excuse me. So that when the fall comes in, we will have some things that are in here. We're going to leave some of our tomato plants in here so that through the winter we can possibly have some tomatoes that are still on the vine for a longer period of time, and even some cucumbers or what have you. They have some varieties of cucumbers. I need to check into them first to see what they're all about, but they're supposed to be able to grow through the winter, not needing pollination. I need to check into that and see what that is, see what that's all about. But and then of course lettuces and greens, those are things that you can certainly grow inside of your greenhouse so that you can have some greens and kale and cabbage and certain things that require that cooler weather. You can certainly have them in the greenhouse, and if you have them in containers, you can move them outside if you have warmer days and then move them back inside so that they are not chilled overnight and that they're not overwhelmed by heat in the day. Having that option by planting inside of containers is a great way to protect plants from various elements of the season that they should not be exposed to. Anyway, this is my garden update. I just wanted to show you all how things are going. I'm sorry that things are a little in disarray right now. It couldn't be helped because the wind blew around a lot of things. A lot of these things you see right here on the ground in the greenhouse, they were on that shelf right there. You see, they were on that shelf. And because we haven't had a chance to close in the greenhouse as of yet, our wood is there. We're ready to do this, but we are kind of bouncing between projects. This is why we have that whole concept of many hands make lighter work, but sometimes it's very difficult to get people around you that you can really trust in that way to be around your family that closely. And so we're doing the best that we can. And so I'm not going to say Mother Nature. I don't believe in Mother Nature, but the Most High had some storms that came through and just kind of blew some things off on the ground, and it's no big deal. Nothing major. It's just a little bit of cleanup that we must do that goes with the territory. But I thank the Most High that the plants themselves, other than that one tray that blew over, the plants themselves did quite well. As a matter of fact, they welcomed all of that rain. I did a video a few days ago that I didn't get a chance to upload. And some of these things were they were just popping through. But as my mom stated in that one storm video, when the Most High rains on something, they come forth with all of this life, all of this growth, just in a matter of 3 days. And so I don't even need to upload that other video, because this one right here gives you greater details of how the Most High's rain is definitely a blessing to the plants. I mean, as a matter of fact, this tray I think only had a couple of seedlings popping through, but with all that rain that we had and then subsequent sun in the same day, look at this. That whole tray is popping with life and seedlings that are ready to go somewhere. Same with this here and this here. Look at that. And even these. Okay, these are beets. We have beets already in the ground in various areas, but we decided we wanted to get some more. We want to get as much as we can growing, because that's what it's all about, being able to feed ourselves and others as best as we can, and getting ourselves used to, even though right now we have the grocery stores and we've had people say to us, what are you doing all that for? Just go to the store. Literally, we've had people say that, just go to the store, because they just don't get it. They don't understand that being able to provide for your own self is a better position to be in than having to go to the store. And so we say this only to encourage you to seek out ways, even if you have to go to grandma and say, Grandma, can I get a spot in your backyard to grow some food? Or aunt, uncle, cousin, neighbor, whoever. There's one Gentile, we talked about him before, where he only has a very small front yard, but he's able to grow enough food to where he's earning $7,500 a week. And the reason is he made a deal with his neighbors. He turned their neighborhood into a literal farm, their front yards. He says, here's the deal. I do all of the work, I plant all the food, I take care of everything, and we split the food. You take half, I take half. And what he does with his half is he sells it in the marketplace. So he's provided for himself an income of $7,500 a week by using his neighbor's lawns. He worked this deal out with them. They agreed to it. They're getting produce, not having to get their hands dirty at all. He's getting produce that he can eat and sell, and he's created an income for himself. How smart is that? That is very, very smart. And so I feel like we are without excuse. We've just got to prioritize our lives in a way that we understand that what we do for ourselves is far greater than anything anyone else can do. Because when you're depending on someone outside of you, other than the Most High, then you set yourself up for failure. So this is my garden update. Of course, I always have to include a little bit of teaching in that because that's what it's all about. We've got to learn and educate one another and encourage one another, because the times are going to require that. The times are going to require that. With that, family, I will say shalom.